Hello, Bible readers. It's Friday, December 18th. We're reading Psalms 25, 29, 33, 36, and 39. Acts chapter 25, the whole thing, through 26, verse 11. Psalm 25 is one of 9 acrostic psalms. I remember learning to do acrostic puzzles, trying to do acrostic poetry like in high school, where an acrostic, I could make a poem about Jesus and make a poem about Jesus, right? Well, there are 9 acrostic psalms, each line beginning with a new letter of the Hebrew alphabet, from Aleph, Bet, Gimel, Dalet, all the way to Tav. Why? Well, it adds beauty and form, apparently, from what I've read. Like, if you were a Hebrew reader, you'd recognize that, oh yeah, this is the A line, the B line, the C line, the D line. Also, it makes it feel like the subject is covered from A to Z, from Alpha to Omega, that's Greek. Aleph to Tav would be Hebrew, A to Z. It's covered, right, from beginning to end. Maybe it helped people memorize it to have it be acrostic. So a teaching psalm might be done that way. Anyway, Psalm 25 is a plea for help. Psalm 29 sees a storm as reflecting the voice and power of God. It's a praise psalm, like, God, you are, so strong. 33 is also a praise psalm. It calls God great a lot. So talking about God's breadth and bigness. 36, Psalm 36, this psalm is titled A Psalm of David, the Servant of the Lord. Only one other psalm is titled in that way, Servant of the Lord, and that is Psalm 18. Psalm 18 describes a servant of the Lord, David, who is older, perhaps toward, when he's about to die, whereas Psalm 36 depicts a younger David. And so the thought here is, if you'd read them, next to each other, you'd see David being faithful servant from youth into old age. And then Psalm 39 is a psalm of wisdom, especially to speak under God's correction, being willing to let God correct what we say. Okay, so the book of Acts, our reading from Acts, this is Festus shows up. Felix got put somewhere else, and so he just kind of let Paul simmer in jail and said, let the next guy deal with it. And here Festus appears, and Paul appeals to Caesar, saying, no, I don't want to go back to Jerusalem. I'm a Roman in the Roman system. So my commentary I read said this: on the one hand, an interpreter would be tempted to argue that Paul's appeal is a prudent act, like out of self-interest, right? A change of venue, Rome, and a judge, the emperor, rather than these Felix and Festus people, they will allow Paul to overcome Festus's moral failures. Upon closer reflection, though, an interpreter should realize that Paul's initiative is prompted by his awareness that the Lord plans for him to go to Rome. Thus, his assertion that he should be tried in Rome is a theological claim, not a legal maneuver. That's an interesting claim here, that Paul's choice to stick with the Roman system to get him to Rome isn't just out of self-interest, that it's clever, but that it's faithful. The precise relationship between God's concerns and the careful, clever choices that characters like Paul make, it's not always clear in Acts. What does seem clear, however, is that the collaboration between the two, a faithful God and God's faithful people, is a necessary feature of God's intentions to fulfill the biblical promises of salvation. I just think that's so important. Luke really paints a picture of how God's action is happening, but not without people's action. God is not just pulling puppet strings here, and we are not, or Paul and we are not just expressing personal agency. There is a mutuality, a relationship that together brings about God's plans. There's more, but as a Bible reader, we're not Bible studiers right now. We're Bible readers, so I'll let you keep on reading. I will say in chapter 26, verse 7, it is for this hope that I am accused. This line that Paul is saying, I'm only believing the things that all the Pharisees have always believed, and now I'm being, put in prison for those beliefs. Like, I love the idea that here we've been hoping for this thing to happen for so long. Now it's happened, and nobody's willing to believe it. Like, what's going on? It's an interesting argument on Paul's behalf. I am one with my God. My God is with us, all of us, at all times and in all places.